WRVA.
All right, hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Richmond's Morning News. This is News Radio WRVA. Today is Feliz Cinco de Mayo. That's about all the Spanish I know, folks, so don't expect me to be bilingual today, but that is Cinco de Mayo. Big holiday. People will be going out enjoying a Corona or a Dos Equis or a Modelo. They'll have margaritas and shots of Cuervo and tacos and burritos and guacamole and nachos to celebrate what Cinco de Mayo is, which many people don't know. I'm going to throw this out for you for just a second on the James River Air text line. Do you actually know what Cinco de Mayo is? How many people know what Cinco de Mayo is significant for? Just send me a text message this morning, 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. How many of us really know what Cinco de Mayo is? I grew up hearing about Cinco de Mayo, but honestly, a couple of years ago, I really did bother to look up what Cinco de Mayo really is significant of. I'll tell you, it's not Mexican Independence Day. It's not Mexico's 4th of July. What do you think Cinco de Mayo is? It's kind of commercial. It's kind of a way for the Mexican beer companies and the guacamole people and the avocado people and the taco people and the Mexican restaurants to have a good time. It's part of the Great American Melting Pot where we'll celebrate St. Patrick's Day, Cinco de Mayo, Columbus Day, all those great holidays that make America a very special place. So what is Cinco de Mayo? Tell me, and we'll have an expert come on in a little bit to explain to us really what it is. But 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140 on the James River Air text line. All right, I do want to talk about something and give you an update of what the latest is going on in Iran. So, as we talked to Captain Brett Sadler, retired U.S. Navy from the Heritage Foundation yesterday, we talked about this ceasefire that's hanging on by a thread right now. So, what's been going on? The United States, as you know, has had a blockade of the Iranian ports. When they say it's a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, it's really a blockade of anybody trying to get in and out of Iranian ports. The U.S. Navy has been turning them back, meaning they're shutting down Iran's ability to squeak any oil out of their country and onto the open market, onto the open sea. Couple reasons for that. Number one is they're not going to let them have the economic power that comes with selling that oil. Number two is Iran doesn't have enough space. They're running out of storage for the oil that they've already pumped out of the ground. They have to either get it out by sea, or they're going to have to shut down some of those oil wells. That is costly, and that is not something that Iran wants to do. So right now, it's an economic block of the ports of Iran, not letting any ship can go in and out. Iran, on the other hand, has threatened ships going in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. They never really controlled it. They bind it. They don't have the Navy to enforce it, and it's just the threat of shipping companies feeling the heat and Lloyd's of London not wanting to insure these ships that go through the Strait of Hormuz. Usually when you go through the Strait of Hormuz, it probably costs you $20,000 to insure a $300 million tanker. Of the tanker plus the oil equals about $300 million. Right now, it's about $2 million of insurance if you can get it. And like I said, Lloyd's of London and the big insurance companies that cover those type of policies just aren't doing business anymore, so nobody can get through that Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. Navy said, fine, we will now start sending ships through. We will escort them through, not necessarily like you saw in World War II, where you have a big convoy of ships coming through, but they said, hey, we'll watch to make sure that you get through. We have air assets, we have naval assets, we have helicopters, we have everything we could possibly need if you get attacked. So 2 U.S. flag ships went through the other day, the first day that the United States said with this new operation that you can get through. 2 U.S. flag cargo ships get through. Yesterday, though, while we were sleeping, 2 U.S. naval destroyers were attacked, a sustained attack, according to CBS, drones, missiles, and small boats. The U.S. Navy's responded back by sinking 7 small boats that were attacking U.S. naval assets and some of these ships. So where are we today here on May 5th? As Gary said, gas is still going through the roof. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But we said this on Friday. We said this yesterday. I'll say this again today. Iran has not yet capitulated. Iran has not yet had their will broken. Iran is still desiring, and they think they're going to be able to get a nuke one day. They said they're going to fire on their ships. That's one promise that they said that they made, and they've kept by firing on the U.S. naval assets and the U.S. Navy ships. And to challenge a U.S. Navy destroyer in open water like that is tantamount to somebody walking up and slapping you across the face. They didn't lie on that one. They think that we are close to giving up because they see what's going on. They hear our politicians here in the United States, and they hear the Democrats saying this is Trump's war. The U.S. and Iran have two different opinions, and now you're really seeing these two clashes of culture go head on right now. For the Iranians, we offer them an off-ramp. Give up your nukes, and we could stop all this because we're not going to let you have a nuke. The world will not be safe with Iran having a nuclear bomb. A nuclear bomb in the hand of Iran would make the entire world so unstable that you never know what's going to happen. So the U.S. and I think most of the world agrees they can't have a bomb. They just can't have one. They would make everything so unstable, not only in the Middle East, but Europe and throughout the world. So U.S. says, you're not getting one. They say, no, we're going to get one, and you can keep telling us we're not, but we're not going to give up on those aspirations. You can hit us with midnight hammer. You can hit us all you want. We're not giving up on that. And then came the ceasefire. And the ceasefire meant two things to two different people. And this is the part where I keep stressing, and I don't hear this enough in mainstream media, so I'm going to tell you so you understand what's going on. Again, that's where we say if you don't listen to Richmond's Morning News, you're playing catch up the rest of the day. It's like two people having a conversation in two different languages, having two different things go away. It's interesting. You have Cinco de Mayo today where we'll translate everything in Spanish. But sometimes there's words that just don't translate. If anybody is bilingual or they know somebody that has a second language, go, there's really not a word for that in my language or in your language. And it's hard to, this is kind of what it means. And I think that's where we are right now with these peace negotiations. These are my thoughts. The U.S. offered Iran an off-ramp saying, hey, why don't you take this off-ramp, give up your nukes, and we can end this thing. Let's have a ceasefire and talk about that. Iran looked back and they said, okay, ceasefire means the U.S. isn't willing to fight anymore. They want to give up. They're looking for that off-ramp. They don't have the guts to fight us. Let's take this ceasefire. We reset. We will not give up on anything we want. We're not going to offer them anything because we're in the position of power because they're trying to find an off-ramp to get out. U.S. says, hey, let's just stop the fighting. We don't have to fight anymore. We've already destroyed your Navy, your Air Force, everything. You've got nothing left except for your infrastructure. And if we go any further, we're really going to harm your people. Can we just call this whole thing off? That's what the U.S. is saying. That's what our culture says. That's the Western way of thinking. The Middle Eastern way of thinking is, oh, wait a minute. You want to stop? It would be like if we had a boxing match and I'm pounding you. So it's me and Super Dave. Okay, let's put it this way. How about it's me and Super Dave in a boxing match? Super Dave is just beating the tar out of me. Super Dave hits me with an uppercut, hits me with the left hand, hits me with the right hand, hits me in the kidney, hits me in the head, boom, hits me in the chin, hits me in the nose, breaks my nose. He's broken my face open. I'm bleeding all over the place. The referee says, stop, hold on. Standing 8 count. Let's go check out and see how Rich is doing. That's basically what's gone on in this war so far. And as I stand there and the doctor's looking to see if I can continue, my thought is, oh, look, Super Dave isn't finishing me off, so he must not want to fight anymore. I'll keep going. That's basically what this is. We gave them a standing 8 count to see whether they wanted to keep fighting or not. In a merciful way, if you will. They looked at it as, oh, you don't have the guts to finish this off, therefore you're weak and we'll keep going. That's basically where we are today. And they hear it from our politicians and our media and all these idiots that keep running around going, Iran has won, the U.S. has lost, the U.S. has lost. They hear people grousing about the gas prices, and they go, look, those Westerners don't have the guts to follow through the way the proud Iranian people do. Look at them. They're asking to stop the fighting, therefore they don't have the will to win. And that's what they sincerely believe. So we're looking for resolution. They play for time. And why wouldn't they? If you think about Iran over the years, what have they had? 7 presidents that didn't have the guts to take them on? Every president since Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, all the way through knew that Iran was a threat to world peace. Yet nobody was ever going to take them on. They've been fighting with us through their proxies for the longest time. and nobody was willing to take them on. And now that we're willing to take them on, they see that we have gas prices that are going through the roof. The American people are upset. They're like, see, listen, all you had to do is just squeeze their gas prices, and these playboys in the Western world, these cowboys will quit. And now they're playing for time, and they're hoping that if we get to the midterms and Donald Trump loses the House, the Democrats will force him to end this war, and they'll continue to play that long game. The one thing I think the American people have to understand, we look at the world like it's social media. Boom, what do we see today on Instagram? That's the way the world is. They look at things over the long haul. We play for an Instagram photo. They're playing for the long game. China does it and Iran does it. And why wouldn't they? Because they've been able to negotiate, talk, and play the long game. Over the last 50 years, nobody in America, no president's ever wanted to take them on and finish this thing off. And I think as they're looking at it, they think that's really what's going to go on here. If they play the long game and they squeeze the oil prices and they drive up the price of gasoline, and rich can't afford to go on a trip down to the Keys this summer because gas prices are too much, they think that's going to be enough for us to give up and allow them one day to have a nuke. They're playing for time. We're trying to find a resolution to this. We want it over. They win if it never ends. They want to continue this until they get their hands on the nuke. If time is their weapon, the only question is, do we let them use it? Because that's what they're doing right now. They're using time, and they're using the oil to squeeze us and to make our lives uncomfortable in order to get us to quit. But as you attack that U.S. naval ship, unfortunately, I think that you're going to see the war heat up again, and we'll see whether Donald Trump actually does go in there and destroy their infrastructure and break them so they can finally decide whether they want to get that nuke or not and how much they're willing to pay for it. Anyway, you want to comment? 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140 is the number for you to join us. Today's program brought to you in part by Pearson Signature Dealerships. Okay, they're everywhere throughout Central Virginia.